This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Transformations with Tara Sutphen. Tara Sutphen is the author of Blame It on Your Past Lives, Soul Agreements, and The Abenda Chronicles. Grammy-nominated audios, videos, and MP3 series. You can find these MP3 series now at TaraInsight.com.
Good morning, Tara.
Good morning. Welcome to Transformations with Tara. This is Jason D. McKean. And Jason is the voice of over 1 million Om recordings sold throughout the world. Yes. It's really great. Thank you for being on the show, Jason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, today we were going to talk about what's our favorite psychic divination, which, of course, I have many. And
wait. Is it good to play favorites?
Yeah, when it comes to divination, because it's your, for me, it's the skill set. But, a lot of people don't know what they're good at.
True.
I do the psychic boot camps. Jason went to one many, many years ago, many moons. Yep, and here he is.
Now I'm the tarot wizard.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, I mean, it's I do find that in classes that sometimes people don't know. It's about your relationship with your intuition, of course, and how it is that you look to express it. And I've come to this place of like thinking of tarot as not a tool but a partner in bringing out the intuitive messaging and all, because it's very it affects lives when you do it at a professional level. It's what you say and all. It's needs to be crafted in a way that is authentic, sincere, and where you're tapping into a source that is larger than yourself. And so it's good to look at how one can create a partnership with a modality, whether it's scrying or tarot or astrology, one of these things that someone can really flourish in. And it's like you have the ability to tap into like a lot of different things. It's like you're just wired for that. I'm more like just have my one or two areas that I thrive in mostly. But where do we begin?
Well, I think that, that's part of that psychic boot camp is what are you good at? That's when I can, and the mystic trainings, I've been able to see what people are good at, what they're not, but, and the psychic development classes that I do. As a raven just flies past. That was pretty.
Right, but anyway, that's the shamanic signs that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I just came right up in through the window there. It was beautiful. Anyway, so and those are always messages from the mystery, because ravens are the keepers of the records. That's what the Native Americans believe, that they're the keepers of the soul. Yeah, that's why you see them around a lot of sacred places. Yeah, all the souls and all the messages that they carry. So, I'm into aspects. Okay, so the divination of birds. And so aspects is very, I've used it for many, many years as part of my shamanism. And that's... birds are the messengers and the feathers are messages. And it has to do with what kind of bird they are. So it's always very interesting.
So the difference between a raven and an owl and a hawk and a seagull.
Different. Yeah, they're all different. Yeah. Eagles are attainment. Hawks are attainment as well. You have Horus, who is the Egyptian, he's the Wajidai, the protector. So, you have a lot of meanings in all the birds. And, they're so incredible. They fly around. I mean, who gets to fly? They get to fly.
They get to fly.
Yeah, they have the overview.
Yeah.
So there's a whole, there's a whole inner sight with aspects. Now, like when I was saying with the boot camp is usually I take, we can't get into astrology, although, I probably should teach astrology classes because I do Western and Eastern astrology. And so, it would be, and then I combine it. Whenever I'm doing any readings, I combine Eastern and Western astrology. But I was very drawn to see if I could, if I liked any of them. I started off actually with personology was the first thing that I started off with, which is really it's an Oriental study of the face and body movements and postures and stuff and body types. So I studied personology, and then I got into palmistry, and then I got into handwriting analysis because I wondered if handwriting analysis was anything like what you were seeing in palmistry, which it isn't really. It's handwriting analysis is very much your nervous system and your moods coming out. But, I would do court stuff for people, do a lot of assessments of different clients, of attorneys and stuff. And
what was that to find out the layers of
lying or
guilt and
telling the
innocence?
Truth or, yeah. What is this? Yeah. Yeah. Because, everybody's handwriting tells a lot about them. And then I got into astrology. I started astrology, and I'm really happy that I started astrology when I was about 24, because, it's been a lifelong study, astrology. I'm always learning something. It's never enough. Mm-hmm. And it's like the universe is a vast universe, all our questions in the universe. Well, astrology is a form of mathematics. And it was that classes in school, especially high school, it's like math, we're never going to use this. Boy, sure enough, I use it every day, but I use it.
What was that, astrology class? Was that astrology class in high school?
No, I wish it was astrology class. It would have been great, me and astrology.
Yeah, except Dad would have been flipping tables going, what the hell? Teaching what? What are you teaching our kids? Astrology.
Right. Well, Jason and I are brother and sister. Anyway, so Dad, our dad.
My class was typing. It's like, I'll never use this going forward. When am I going to sit down and be typing? That's crazy.
Right. Yeah, you're typing morning, noon, and night. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, as an artist for magazines and everything. Oh my God, that is so funny, Jason. Yeah, Mr. Typer. Yeah, type, and more type. Yeah. And figuring out the fonts of the type and how it lays on the paper and what picture should go with it all. And if it's cohesive.
Lots of typing.
And, all the mistakes, all the editing. Yeah, I mean, people will say to me, like, to look for things, and I'll spot it right away. It's that editing training, tell you. We had edit, and the thing is you can spot it right away. So it was something like a hyper observance that you learned. Yeah, and you still, there was typos.
Yeah, there's always like typos. I tell that to like new authors because the ones who are old hands at it, they're like, yeah, I know. It's just like I'm going to look at it 50 times and I'm still going to see like, what? I repeated this word.
Yeah.
The obvious.
You the word, you spell it wrong, you do something. Yeah.
Something. Yeah, something.
Yeah, I mean, I get where it's like, really? That was a cohesive sentence? Did you read that out loud, Tara?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. And who knew, that Yeah, like writing classes and stuff. I always liked English, but I never thought of myself as going to be a
But you were
writer.
talking about geometry in
Yes, geometry.
high school and
Yeah.
middle school, where
Mhm.
it's like it's in astrology, it's all geometry, it's all the relationships
Right.
there of the stars and the planets and all.
Right. And so, and I wouldn't want to be a teaching class in geometry, but, it's something that I use personally for my work, every day. And I enjoy it. I just can't wait to get in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's something that you learned about yourself, right? As far as like that
Right.
makes a study like astrology interesting for you, and it's like,
Yeah.
where you're ready to go into it.
Well, yeah. And, I always learn that, it's more fun if you have a couple people doing it, because then you have people who you don't know. And so you can get some feedback.
Yeah.
That feedback is nice.
Do you think there's a basis to all of the psychic sciences, all of those modalities? Do you think that there's a something within yourself that is like, looking to be the one who dives into these areas? What do you think that basis is?
Well, what do you mean by basis? Like you're just drawn to it, or that you're
Yeah, I mean that plus an ability to like see, to have those clairs.
Well, I think
that are open.
Right. I think the first idea of your psychic ability and what you're drawn toward is what you're studying or what you're looking at. Like, a lot of people will look at psychic ability and don't think that they have any, but they're drawn to it. They're really drawn to it. Mm-hmm. And in reality, what you see is in someone else is in you. So you're probably very psychic as well. You just don't know how to, activate it, like, how I teach and how you teach now is, help you activate your latent talents. And you're still teachable up until the day we die. So, it's all about whatever it is that you'd like to learn, keeps your brain alive, keeps you motivated, keeps you going forward. With psychic ability, there's a real thin line between, reality and delusion. There is a real thin line with that. So you have to take notes. You have to, really it's a timely thing. I think it's timely. I'm sure, Jason, you had some hits, but you were probably stumbling or wanting to say the right thing. Now you're an expert. You tap it, you say it. You don't have any problem with talking about people's, most trusted secrets, really, and you just go for it. You dive in.
Yeah. And that's something that is can be an acquired skill along the way. Not everyone who has an ability to trust their intuition and to say it is not always the most tactful or able to just recognize that sacred space. That's actually one of the first lessons in my in one of my classes, or if I'm teaching privately, where it's a recognition that every soul is sacred, that one's ability to tap in doesn't mean that they necessarily should all the time, or that they're able to respect someone else's journey if they're either pushing too hard on them, or if they're they it's like looking at like your own journey, and do you want someone who's like writing you to like, oh, you got to do this, you got to be this and all that. It's like there's this respect of boundaries for where someone is at, and not expecting them to necessarily be at the same level that you're at. So there's a lot of depth to the work as a practitioner. But when you're first starting, it's pretty fun. It's pretty, almost said something else as far as like adding to that fun, because it is like really fun. And it's it's something that it feels magical, and it is magical, right? It is when you're, because like real magic is not where you're controlling an illusion, but you're really like tapping into an energy that is present. And it's to be able to temper that and use it down the road. That's one thing, but the enthusiasm, that enjoyment of just having that gift is it is something that it's quite a trip.
Right. And I had the teen class for 10 years. So it was really fun to see the teens in different settings. And the thing is I never had to reprimand the teens, for being around a bunch of teenagers. I never had to reprimand them. They reprimanded themselves. Mm-hmm. And so when we had the cone of silence, down, and we'd talk about, real things, real problems, home life, other people, hate things, all of it, drugs, you name it, we'd talk it. So, but it was a cone of silence. And so, I really found that when somebody got carried away and would do like delusions to people, that, somebody would pipe up and say, oh, that's hurting my feelings. And so I wouldn't have to step in and say, hey, tone it down, tone down that psychic reading, you're getting way too into, really crazy, people say crazy things, like who they might be having, a relationship with, or who they, these are teenagers, they don't necessarily, don't hook them up with people, or don't, they're some negative things, in their life. Don't go so, gonzo on that.
You didn't have to have a spray bottle, like just like an unruly cat, like put some holy water in it and
holy water. That would have been great.
Just to temper the teenagers.
A little holy water.
Okay. I'll tone it down.
Never, but that would have been funny. Yeah. No, but we did all the modalities, we would do automatic writing, we would do, and I had a setup, and still have it, is a, one of those Zen sand things that make that move, the pendulum moves, and it's big. It's really big.
As the pendulum moves, it creates a pattern in the sand, right? Yeah.
So I would just, so I raised it up a little bit more, and, that was the telekinesis experiment, and so the boys loved that and would try. And there was one boy, he could do it. And he came from a household that, I had done some shamanic blessings to before. And it was a house that he lived in that was where the Spanish and the Chumash had a big, huge battle. Oh. And they had a lot of poltergeists in their house. And then, boy, he could move that pendulum. So it was just like, I wonder if it's his energy along with, whatever is happening. Yeah, but he was really good at it.
Yeah,
and a couple people. I know a couple good people who are good at it.
It's like finding that out about yourself. It's like then how do you use that? Do you use that for personal power? Do you use it to
well, I think it might
big
give
projects
you
in the world?
Confidence to be able to feel that you could move. You can move your life. You can move the energy. Maybe it might be like a great tool in some other areas. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have him as a student now, but you know, I'm sure that I would suggest some things if he was. So, yeah, you know, and then a lot of people are into energy medicine these days, which is really nice. I love the
lot of
quantum
people.
healing. I do. I think that it's very powerful. I think that if we use the shamanic power of the universe, and you know what, sometimes they use the earth energies, but you know, everything is alive. So if you are, and that's where hypnosis comes in, because I really feel that hypnotherapy, hypnosis, you know, comes in to align with the energies to heal ourselves and to keep ourselves, you know, progressing forward in the best possible way.
Yeah. So, you know, I will go outside of the box. You know, I consider myself mostly a tarot practitioner, you know, when I'm doing sessions and all, but for classes and all, like last night I did a dream revelation class, which you know, it allows for someone to bring a dream into the class setting where they can talk about it, and then we were pulling cards on it. But you know, the cards are, they have their say, but you know, sometimes there's other intuitive aspects that come out as well. You know, because dream interpretation has a whole language in itself, just like astrology does, and you know, other modalities where there's a lexicon that we build of, you know, what certain things mean, like a house, right? It's like becomes, you know, your own body. That plus healing. That's a again, you touched upon a part of what's really interesting for a lot of people, because they're not necessarily like scientific minded in that, you know, they want to become a brain surgeon or a Western doctor, or even like have like a lot of like that medicinal background, but they're wanting to help. They're wanting to help heal through an energy practice, and it might be anything from Reiki to you know, just setting intention. You know, qigong is another way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does take discipline. It does take you know, it's not that you just like, you say, okay, I'm a healer now, and you know, it's like you wave your hand and you heal someone, right? It's like,
No.
it can be a daily session. It can be a daily practice that the one, you know, does. And you know, is there something to the you know, is there a truth that if someone is not wanting healing for themselves, let's say they have a condition that is a chronic condition, if they're not wanting that, if they resist it, are they good to?
Our sister is calling, and I just was going to talk.
It's
about
like,
it. Go on.
so
She's psychic. She's feeling it.
you know, is it something that, are they a good receiver, you know, for energetic healing? Is that healing coming in if they're closing off to it?
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. I was talking about healing.
Yeah, good. Very good. Very good. Yes.
But you know, it's like setting up your being, you know, to you know, create like a field of healing, and then, you know, to send it out. That's a, you know, it's a good thing to do. You know, it is but one has to be mindful of you know, why they do it, you know, why they're doing the healing work. You know, is it something that they're looking to heal within themselves at the same time that they're looking to help others? You know, we know others who can be too like invested. You know, they're not able to let go of stuff that they send out. It's almost like, you know, a gift that you give someone. It's like you you give someone a gift and then you let it go. You don't just like call them every 5 minutes and, hey, are you using the thing that I sent you? How's that going for you? It's like one can almost be attached like that too with their gifts. It's like, how is this helping you? Tell me. And it's just like, relax in that, because
Right.
that's an
Not
energy too.
everybody is willing to listen until it's the right time for them, and then they may never listen.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't want to change. Some people just don't want to change the way they eat or the way they do things or the way they heal their bodies. They believe in a Western, modalities only, or the Eastern modalities only, or, natural modalities only. They get stuck in their ways. And everything's a gift. All of it is a gift. So the thing is that how do we go about it for ourselves? Well, I feel that, we had the Shaman Summit right in, it was our last seminar right before, everything closed down in March. It was for the 13th, 14th, and 15th of March. And we had Jason Swell-Canham, who's an elder for the Lummi tribe, and we had Soaring Spirit and me at this summit. And we had we only limited to 20 people, and 20 people were there. And we had just a great time. And our sister came, and you had stage 4 cancer twice and has gone through treatment, Western treatment. But she had like some things that were bothering her. And, at the end of the seminar, we put everybody on the massage table and everybody laid hands to heal everybody, right? As one of our modalities. And she said she's never had the problem since. And who it was that healed her, or is it the combined effort of 20 of us, 19 of us at that point? Well, 20, because somebody came in and so they were our extra person. Yeah. Who wanted to, who was all freaked out about the pandemic and wanted to, I don't know what they wanted actually. But yeah, it was one of those people though, that you were like, okay, why are you here? But somewhat of an interloper. It was interesting. So the thing is that, but we put him to work instead of letting him interlope.
Yeah. It's like,
okay, you want to be here.
You want to be here. All right. It's time for lunch. Make some sandwiches. No, it's, to activate that healing energy. But that one, seminar, it's more than a seminar, right? I mean, it's more than just a sharing of information and all. It was like a real, just energetic, symposium. It was just like, it was amazing. But it's like our sister from that really got something out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a recognition within herself, as far as like energy, gifts that she can use for herself down the road, and also for others as well. It's not always that we have to share our gifts. Sometimes it's where it's enough just to work on just kind of making sure our own life is on a path of where we're feeling connected to it, where we feel like we have places of a say, or where we're empowering ourselves. We don't have to be out there saving the world. That's not everyone's path.
Yeah. Or you can hold sacred space, prayers, sacred space for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a better way than, I always love that. It's a photo where, some people are pushing people down instead of helping them up. It's all about helping others up,
Yeah.
Helping anybody up is a better solution. Yeah. And it doesn't always happen, and it can't always happen in your life. There's people that just don't mean other people will. So, generally stay away from that. But
right. Yeah, and that's a receptivity problem too. It's a receptivity problem too, where people close off to others, and until they recognize that that doesn't work, right? It just doesn't. It's not sustainable. It's creates more negative karma for them. It's like, and that's part of their journey.
Yeah. Right. So now, and then I do hypnothesia. If people are really wanting to get rid of anything, any sort of phobias, any weight loss stuff, really excel at anything, so even success in general in your career, I do hypnothesia, which it's going into light anesthesia with an anesthesiologist, and you're gonna go past those blocks. Yeah. So any depression, grief, some of that, just allow yourself to get past onto the next.
So going past the subconscious blocks.
Yeah.
Those parts of our brain that will say, like, no, I can't do that. Yeah. It's like, we're just going to move past you. Yeah. We're just like, you're not going to block these suggestions of where you start taking care of yourself, rather than, going back to those automatic trigger places,
Right. Yeah. People go to. Yeah. And you just don't know what they are. They could be a sentence a parent said, or a teacher, or, some kind of an authority, or just you have it in your head that you can't do something. Yeah. So, yes, you can. And I just go through all the modalities with you. Whatever you want said is what is said.
So you set up
out beforehand.
You set it up beforehand so that people know.
Oh yeah.
What all the suggestions are and
oh yeah, what, their suggestions. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to walk into your house and it's a breath of fresh air, you want to walk out of your house and it's a breath of fresh air. Anything that you want to deal with in life that you feel that you're not waking up in the most positive light, then we work on it. And I work on that anyway, and so does Jason on an everyday basis. But it's just that with hypnothesia, you're getting past it real quick.
Well, here's a question about that.
Smoking either.
Because it's like when I'm doing a soul path navigation with I've been doing that with Japanese clients, and that's through a translator and all of that has been a recent.
I've been so excited about your Japanese sessions.
And we'll, we go pretty deep as far as with the tarot. We start there, and we look to uncover, these layers of what can be holding someone back, what energetic influences are there, and along the way, it's like we'll point out, like things to, like build in a mantra at the end. Because that mantra, the I statements, I am more, confident. I open up my voice to tell, people what's really on my mind, whatever, right? That comes up at the end. But through the cards, we see where there is a need or where someone can be blocking themselves, and that's a process of discovery. Right. That's where someone may not know this about themselves, but it's coming up in the reading, and then we can work on it at the end with people who are looking to make change in their life. Do they always know what it is that they're looking to exactly change, or do they need like some kind of session to be able to uncover something? That if it's like, let's say weight loss, right? As far as, is it something in this life Is it something in the past that they're looking to heal, before they can, get to a place where they're taking care of themselves?
Right.
I guess that was a long way of just setting up that question of, is there just stuff that the individual doesn't know about that you can help them uncover so that you're getting more to the heart of the matter?
Well, I mean, if you just look at past lives alone, I mean, how many lifetimes did you starve to death?
A
Or
lot.
did you just starve because, you were on traveling, or, you don't know, kind of what is kind of wreaking havoc in your subconscious. Because a lot of times it's wreaking havoc in your subconscious. It's not even something you're conscious of or that you've experienced in this lifetime. So, what is it that you're carrying along the way that's just, you're afraid of really making the wrong decision. Like, so if you got on a diet, well, won't you maybe starve to death? I mean, you don't know what your subconscious is doing, yet people are so, frustrated that they're not getting what they want. Because, we're a society that teaches, you can have what you want. Just get over your blocks and let's go. We're all a progressive society that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Trying to be.
What else we teach is that let's do it now. We want it now.
Right. Do it now. Well, and we're definitely worker bees upon the planet. We've really been, people work hard. They work hard for what they have. They're working all the time. Mm-hmm. Even during this pandemic, people are like figuring it out to try to, create money for their lifestyles. So, it's working. Your mind is working, the stress overload. There's, we're not in a simple time, but I don't know if there's ever been a simple time, because if we're in a simpler time, survival was a big, huge part of that simpler time. And survival doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't have to work hard. You probably had to toil very hard.
Yeah, I think a lot of people starve to death, actually, as far as, in past lives and all, because of just that basic survival and all. I mean, that's a basic need.
Or didn't get the right nutrients, I mean,
yeah.
Let's face it, you had a crop and that was all you ate. You didn't necessarily get to eat anything else. And if you didn't live in a land of rain, you didn't get, what did you get to eat?
Dirt.
Yeah. It's just,
yeah,
just whatever the natural area provided. And so, there's a whole lot of thought process that's deep within us that, comes to the fore. Just a lot of it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So do you have a favorite modality?
Oh, my modality. Well, I'm pretty much, I would think that all psychic phenomena is pretty much my, thing. So, and it's not really, it's the favorite or not, because I love shamanism, mysticism. I love any sort of, astrology. I adore Eastern, Western astrology. I adore, and like I said, can never learn enough. And I've locked myself away many, many months at a time only to do, learn things, learn basic, formulas and different, in-depth studies that I wanted to do. I mean, like, I look at some of my, I have journals where I have pages and pages of aspects of where, I would have taken, different people and, just figured it out. Like, husbands and ex-husbands and, fun guinea pigs like that. But it was really interesting. I mean, I find it fascinating, really. And so, because you have to have those people that, you have to, study just to figure out, well, does this match or doesn't it? So you're always comparing. There's a lot of comparison. I love psychometry. Absolutely adore psychometry. I love, which is touching things and feeling the emanations or where maybe this came from. But it can be a t-shirt. It can be anything. And that's why, and that's why a lot of people are so empathic in what they touch. And they feel that it's their emotions when it's maybe somebody else's. Even the person around them, something that you've touched, if you're touching anything that a million other people touched, you could be triggered, just bam, into thinking, oh, I don't really feel good, or I don't like anybody now, and it's just because it's that bombarded of people's, worries, their problems. And so when you realize that it isn't your feelings, it's not your, it's not your life at that point, that you're progressing forward in an easy way, then you start like not picking up on that stuff. And that's like what you were saying, as far as, picking up on people's, well, I don't know, what were you saying about that? You were saying something about picking up on people's energies and feeling kind of blue.
Well, yeah, where you don't take on their journey. It's like you find that dividing line, where it is that you need to go, what your own purpose is and your own feelings and all, and you don't start to just take on someone else's stuff, and that can happen for anyone who's does a lot of this type of work, who is in the role of like a counselor. Certainly you have to have a pretty sharp line so that you can continue to do the work. It doesn't wipe you out. But if you're doing it for fun and all, you still have to know what's yours and what's someone else's, so that it can stay fun for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's like you were saying, about reading other people just for reading's sake. I'm resting all the time. I try not to get in anybody's business unless they come into me as a client. I mean, I know who to talk to and who not to talk to, but generally I'm saying that, I'm not, I don't go out of my way, because that's a lot of mental stimulation. Whereas, I'm a rested, in my center type of person. And you want to stay that way. You don't want to become a nervous, anxiety person because you're trying to figure out like the next move on what they're going to do. Person, like in relationships or, your children, sometimes that sort of stuff. Not that, they all haven't given you a run for your money, but yeah, you'd like to know what's going on. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you have to be the best you. And how do you do that? It's getting into the best you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making that choice. Yeah. So the divinations, I love it, and sometimes I don't really recommend the channeling or the mediumship to people who are very nervous and not centered enough to kind of handle some of the stuff, because, and the psychic ability too, if you're opening, and you are not clear on keeping yourself balanced, that's part of the process as well, is to, you are to become your best self, your progressive self, your stable self, and then you can help others. And so it's all about nurturing yourself to become whatever that you need to do for the rest of your family, your friends, society, the nation, the world. It begins with you.
Yeah, you can undo yourself by like kind of overloading your circuits there. And if you have like just wiring that isn't fully able to handle it, it can be a lot of just added stress, and all to start taking on some of these other aspects that you you may not understand. It's like, just understanding the mechanics of spirit isn't really a thing. I think that it has its because it's very wide open. It's if you are not able to handle most of it anyway, it's like you're not going to be of service to others. You're just gonna just be off somewhere. And one thing that in classes and all that, it's like I look to see if people are able to operate at a certain level with it, that it's not it's not too much for them. If it's too much for them, then it's not the best that they that they like move forward in it. And I'll have those conversations with them, and not encourage them to like kind of blow themselves open like that. So some people can handle it, some not so much.
Right.
And I think it's ethical to be able to tell someone that, it's like any teacher, if you see students who are gifted, who are just it's like you want them to be their best. And if some don't have the talent, if they don't have if they're it's okay to give them an out too. It's like it's like this may not be for you.
Right. Yeah, I haven't found that too much. I mean, I find that people over observe or over, they want to be perfect at it instead of just go with the flow of it. But, I think that's, everything comes with a certain amount of time of settling in. Like words, you have to see 60 times or something before you really get it. And that's what I feel with meditation too, with visualizations. Like Jason has MP3s, his own MP3s, and my definitely MP3s, my recordings. Yeah, you listen to 60 to 90 times if you're working on like your psychic ability, or you're working on even sleeping better. You have to listen. You really just do have to listen. Yeah.
Do you through the various modalities, do you look for a common thread? Like if you're looking to see a situation, will you use astrology, tarot, psychometry, or just a variety of just where you will look at a specific maybe situation through all of these different modalities to see if there's a commonality in those in that situation?
Sometimes, but not real. I mean, I'm more of a I feel that I'm more of a gifted psychic from my near-death experiences. So I'm not, I don't search outside myself to think that I need to like search for an answer in all the modalities. I think that I feel that they're so much fun and I'm still impassioned by them. I just, love to throw cards, but I don't throw cards for a lot of people. I throw cards because, I think it's interesting just to see what's going to come up. Mm-hmm. I find that it gives a touchstone, and I love touchstones. And so it's anything, your crystal, your whatever you're touching, your ring. Sometimes those are touchstones. So you can be trying trying to not block something, because, people will give you the wrong information of their birth information because they don't want to be seen. A lot of people want to be invisible in the world. And so they think that they want a reading, but then they don't really want to be read. They're like afraid of it. And so they say, no, that's not me. When, usually I don't really approach it from that standpoint. I know Jason doesn't either. We're just making you feel comfortable, and whatever your question is, we're here to answer it. But, I like to see, like say if, I like to see if there's an illness, where the illness shows up. If there's an accident, I like to see the accident show up. I like that in Eastern and Western astrology, but it's not Western astrology that only tells me. I have to combine it with the Eastern to really get what I'm seeking. Yeah, there's a lot of in-depth knowledge there. And what it is, I don't know. It's just the language of the universe. It's a language of numbers. It's a language of it's not a language of astrology even. I couldn't even tell you most of the time what your rising sign or I'm using mathematics at all times in my astrology. So, but I like tarot because I think that you get a story, and I like stories. I do like stories. So the story of something comes into view. Yeah.
I like that the image, a lot of times it speaks louder than words too, for a client that, now it's been through Zoom, a lot of the readings, and because there's that visual aspect, that has impact for someone to see that. And depending on what they're going through, if they are like feeling pain and you're like saying, well, let's take a look at that. And you see like the 5 of Cups or the 9 of Swords or the 3 of Swords, something that is very like,
steps it into
indicative
that.
of that. It's like, people are seeing that the universe is also, it's recognizing that, yes, it's like, you are in this place of pain, but, with any of these modalities, it's not about condemning a person to, just that particular state, just because it's like a snapshot of where they're at now. It's like, okay, you're here, but let's see how we can get you to move through this so that you're not, in this place of pain. And that's where, the is it the non-fun part of the cards and all that, where it's like, okay, now this is where the work begins, because it's not just like
Definitely
the fun of like,
non-fun part. But there's a lot of non-fun part in prediction. There is, and that's where you have to be a sincere, authentic person to be able to carry it. People will tell me what I've said to them 35 years ago.
It's true.
I mean, luckily I'm a very, authentic type of person. I don't ever try to hurt anyone's feelings in saying anything. So, it's worked out good for me.
Yeah, it's the words, they will carry, throughout many, many, many years. And again, it's like, we don't look to condemn someone to a particular feeling of, of not being empowered, of, always looking to see what their choices are and how one looks to change their situation if they're, needing to do that.
Right. So what is your website, Chase?
Website? It's the universe. I don't have a website. No, it's Jason D. McKean, JASON D as in Dumbledore, McKean, MCKEAN.com.
Okay. And do you have some classes coming up?
I have classes in Japanese that are coming up. I have a healing class. So if you are a Japanese speaking person only, just it'll be through a translator. That'll be next week. But yeah, I have classes always, on usually Thursday and Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
Tarot
So
classes.
do you have them up on your, you have them on your Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, my Facebook or Instagram. I don't do Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, and meetup.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How about you, Tara? What's your website?
My website is tarainsight.com. It's TARAINSIGHT.com. And, thank you, Jason, for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. And
yeah, you too. So happy that you're the tarot wizard, the own tarot wizard.
The own tarot wizard.
Yes. Lots of recordings, Jason. And I have eye hypnotherapy and my website if you want some hypnotherapy as well. Some wonderful MP3s. Hey, lots of love, everybody.
This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ying.fm, and Upsnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.